The millionaire Sheikh tests a waitress in public. Her response leaves everyone speechless. Amina whisked between tables, a blur of energy in a bustling café, the bell above the door ringing constantly as customers shuffled in and out. She had a knack for knowing what people wanted before they even did, her bright smile capable of lighting up the dreariest day. Each order she took was an art, a vivid splash of excitement in her otherwise ordinary life. But on that day, a curious stranger slipped into the café, disguising himself with a worn-out baseball cap, pulled low over his brow, a tattered jacket concealing his wealth. Little did they know, this man was a millionaire sheikh, eager to observe her from the shadows, his heart tangled in questions about his own life. As Amina deftly balanced hot coffee and plates of sizzling food, she managed a group of quirky regulars, an artist sketching furiously in a corner, a grandmother barking orders at a younger companion, and even a teen flirting with his crush across the table. Laughter bubbled, the air filled with the aroma of fresh pastries and strong espresso. Yet amid this lively chaos, Amina never missed a beat, her passion pouring into every interaction. And then it happened. A sudden crash echoed through the cafe as a plate shattered on the tiled floor. Customers gasped, heads snapping toward the commotion. A man had toppled a stack of trays, chaos erupting like a volcano. Amina's heart raced. She needed to act fast. As she rushed over, the weight of the customers' eyes bore down on her. Would they blame her? Would this be the moment they turned against her? Suddenly, the lights flickered. Murmurs swelled, anxiety casting shadows over their cheerful chatter. A flash of panic crossed Amina's face. Staff members exchanged worried looks. "What do we do?" one whispered. Amina took a deep breath. She could feel the tightening in her chest, that familiar sense of responsibility swelling up. If she didn't act, her dreams of saving up for culinary school might wither away alongside the camaraderie around her. Her mind raced. She could either help clean up the mess, ensuring the cafe stayed afloat, or go outside to breathe, risking the team's harmony. She made her choice. Heart pounding, Amina sprang into action, coordinating efforts to restore order. Fingers trembling, she clutched her order pad tightly, her body a whirlwind of movement. The sheikh watched in awe. He felt an unfamiliar pang within him, caught between admiration and his own struggles with the loneliness that wealth brought. As Amina worked, unexpected familiarity shimmered in the air. The sheikh recalled a time when he was just an ambitious young man, forging connections over shared experiences, not isolated by his riches. A tug of memory pulled at him, Amina from his past. But how? A wave of realization crashed over him, just as the last vestiges of tension receded, leaving behind a lingering fog of anticipation. In that instant, Amina noticed him watching her intently. Their eyes locked, an electric charge igniting secrets buried deep. What would happen when the truth of their intertwined past emerged? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. As their eyes locked, an invisible thread wove between Amina and the mysterious man. Time seemed to pause. The chaos of the cafe faded into a dull roar, leaving only the intensity of that shared gaze. But just as Amina began to feel something deep and unfamiliar, the door swung open violently. A gust of cold air whipped inside, drawing everyone's attention. A tall man, with an aura of authority that demanded respect, stepped in. His presence darkened the room. The chatter hushed. Whispers flitted like birds. Amina's heart raced. Who was he? The newcomer strode straight up to the sheikh, their eyes meeting for a heartbeat that felt like eternity. You were told to stay away, the man growled. Surprise swept through Amina's mind. Who was this guy? The entire cafe was on edge. Customers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. As darting between the two men, the Sheikh's expression tightened, anger mingling with something more profound. Fear? Recognition? Amina felt the temperature drop as tension swelled. Stay out of my business, Malik, the Sheikh replied sharply, voice steady but with an underlying tremor betraying unease. What was happening? Did they know each other? Amina felt invisible, but she was pulled into the current like everyone else. Your business? You think it's just business? Malik snapped, taking a step closer. What about family? What have you done? The cafe froze in collective shock. Amina's pulse thundered in her ears. The word family hung in the air like a storm cloud, ominous and charged. Amina's stomach knotted. She looked from one man to the other, sensing buried secrets rising to the surface. Malik's next words crashed through the tension. You can't run from the past. You owe it to everyone you've hurt. You think wealth alone will shield you from the truth? The accusation sliced through the déjà vu like glass-cutting skin. Amina's heart sank. The Sheikh? Hurt people? How did Malik know? Suddenly something inside her shifted. Her subconscious whispers of familiarity about the Sheikh began to amplify. As she pieced together fragmented memories, an old face, the warmth of laughter, it hit her hard. Wait, it can't be. In that moment, the Sheikh turned slowly, almost searching for something in her eyes, an escape, an answer. In his voice, she heard desperate fervor. Amina, I. But before he could finish, Malik cut in. You think you can just return after so many years? After leaving everyone behind? His words dripped with disdain. Amina staggered, reeling as truth threatened to unravel everything she knew about her dreams and her life. The Sheikh, a part of her past, a piece long buried, loomed before her. Who was he to her? What did this mean? And just as the pieces began to converge, a loud crash echoed from the back, another tray clattering to the ground. This time, it wasn't a mistake. It was staged. Shock and chaos erupted all around. The clinking of cups and gasps from customers morphed into a symphony of tension. What are you hiding? Malik shouted, turning sharply, eyes blazing into the Sheikh's intentions. The truth hung heavy in the air, unspoken, yet all-consuming. Amina could feel the ground shifting. Beneath her, the foundation of her world cracking. Who could she trust? Who was the real victim here? As the cafe erupted into chaos, one question echoed deep in her mind. What had the Sheikh done to her, and why was Malik so furious? She felt a familiar sense of urgency, a need to uncover the truth before it shattered her reality completely. What was the secret that bonded them all together in this moment? Amina staggered, reeling as truth threatened to unravel everything she knew about her dreams and her life. The Sheikh, a part of her past, a piece long buried, loomed before her. Who was he to her? What did this mean? Suddenly the door burst open again, this time crashing into the wall. The sickening crack sliced through, the chaos like a blade. A woman, drenched in sweat, appeared in the doorway. Panic etched across her features. Her breath came in gasps, each exhale heavy with urgency. Get out, everyone get out, she shouted, her voice sharp and frantic. Time slowed in that moment, the cafe filled with frozen faces. What? Amina barely whispered. An explosion. The woman's eyes were wild, pleading for attention. The building. There's a gas leak. A deafening silence followed. Every person in the cafe paralyzed by disbelief. Malik snapped his head towards the woman, frustration boiling over. You can't just come in here screaming. But the Sheikh moved, instinct kicking in. No time for that. He turned to Amina, his urgency palpable. We have to go. Amina felt a pull, fear squeezing her chest, but a deeper instinct driving her forward. They had to act. Malik appeared torn, anger battling concern, but his eyes danced toward the door where chaos suddenly felt imminent. Whispered rumors broke out among the patrons. Gas leak? Bomb threat? It felt like the world trembled around her. The woman grabbed Amina's wrist, yanking her toward the exit. "Come on!" But Amina hesitated, glancing back at the Sheikh. His face was a storm, fury, and fear coiling together. "Stay close," he urged, his voice steady, even as panic surged in the room. His eyes burned with something deeper, something unspoken. Amina felt the ground shift beneath her. She wanted to run, but the weight of their history hung heavily between them. This stranger who felt like home, and yet, who had hurt her? Then Malik shoved past them, eyes narrowed. "Whether you like it or not, this affects all of us," he shouted, his voice like thunder among the whispering crowd. "We need to get everyone out safely." Just as he said that, a tremor rumbled beneath their feet. It was subtle at first, but then the walls seemed to shudder, and Amina's heart plummeted. The café transformed into chaos. Chairs toppled, screams pierced the air. "Out," Malik ordered, shoving customers toward the door, his face a mask of determination. Amina wanted to follow, but something held her back. The Sheikh stepped closer, his expression conflicted. "Amina, I—" Their moment was interrupted. An ear-shattering crash erupted from the back room. Dishes shattered, and a cloud of dust exploded into the air, mixing with the chaos and confusion. The woman who had warned them turned to them, panic igniting fear in her eyes. "We don't have time. Move!" Sheikh grabbed Amina's hand. "Please, we have to go now." Amina's mind raced. The past, the pain, the questions, all twisted together like shattered glass. She could feel the depth of their connection, but the danger surged forward like a wave. And then she saw it, a flicker of light beneath the back door. That glow? Was it flames? She felt icy dread settle in her stomach. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the space as a whole section of the café began to cave in. "Go!" Malik yelled, herding everyone toward the exit. The sense of urgency thickened, enveloping them in a cocoon of fear. Amina looked back, meeting the Sheikh's desperate gaze one last time. Just as they reached the door, another loud explosion rocked the building. The frame cracked and the doorway blurred with debris. Amina gasped, jolted by the blast. "What's happening?" Everything around her felt unreal. The screams, the smoke, the chaos swirling like a storm. She turned back to see the Sheikh standing still, the expression on his face now masked in terror. "Don't you understand?" Malik shouted over the tumult, his voice rising above the din. "They're coming for him." No one understood. Amina's heart hammered in her chest as the true magnitude of the situation began to sink in. Who was the Sheikh really? Why was Malik so angry? What had he done that made their past echo so loudly in these flames? With urgency spiraling around them, Amina felt the unknown course of her life hit her like a tidal wave. As Malik pushed her through the opening, one question roared in her mind, drowning out all else. What had she just unleashed by stepping into this chaos? Amina staggered, reeling as truth threatened to unravel everything she knew about her dreams and her life. The Sheikh, a part of her past, a piece long buried, loomed before her. Who was he to her? What did this mean? Suddenly, the door burst open again, this time crashing into the wall. The sickening crack sliced through the chaos like a blade. A woman, drenched in sweat, appeared in the doorway. Panic etched across her features. Her breath came in gasps, each exhale heavy with urgency. "Get out! Everyone, get out!" she shouted, her voice sharp and frantic. Time slowed in that moment, the café filled with frozen faces. "What?" Amina barely whispered. "An explosion." The woman's eyes were wild, pleading for attention. "The building, there's a gas leak." A deafening silence followed, every person in the café paralyzed by disbelief. Malik snapped his head towards the woman, frustration boiling over. "You can't just come in here screaming." But the Sheikh moved, instinct kicking in. "No time for that." He turned to Amina, his urgency palpable. "We have to go." Amina felt a pull, fear squeezing her chest, but a deeper instinct driving her forward. They had to act. Malik appeared torn, anger battling concern, but his eyes danced toward the door, where chaos suddenly felt imminent. Whispered rumors broke out among the patrons. Gas leak, bomb threat. It felt like the world trembled around her. The woman grabbed Amina's wrist, yanking her toward the exit. "Come on!" But Amina hesitated, glancing back at the Sheikh. His face was a storm, fury and fear coiling together. "Stay close," he urged, his voice steady even as panic surged in the room. His eyes burned with something deeper, something unspoken. Amina felt the ground shift beneath her. She wanted to run, but the weight of their history hung heavily between them. This stranger who felt like home, and yet who had hurt her. Then Malik shoved past them, eyes narrowed. "Whether you like it or not, this affects all of." "Yes," he shouted, his voice like thunder among the whispering crowd. "We need to get everyone out safely." Just as he said that, a tremor rumbled beneath their feet. It was subtle at first, but then the walls seemed to shudder, and Amina's heart plummeted. The café transformed into chaos. Chairs toppled, screams pierced the air. "Out!" Malik ordered, herding everyone toward the door, his face a mask of determination. Amina wanted to follow, but something held her back. The Sheikh stepped closer, his expression conflicted. "Amina, Their moment was interrupted. An ear-shattering crash erupted from the back room. Dishes shattered, and a cloud of dust exploded into the air, mixing with the chaos and confusion. The woman who had warned them turned to them, panic igniting fear in her eyes. "We don't have time. Move." Sheikh grabbed Amina's hand. "Please, we have to go now." Amina's mind raced. The past, the pain, the questions, all twisted together like shattered glass. She could feel the depth of their connection, but the danger surged forward like a wave. And then she saw it, a flicker of light beneath the back door. That glow, was it flames? She felt icy dread settle in her stomach. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the space as a whole section of the café began to cave in. "Go!" Malik yelled, pushing customers toward the exit. The sense of urgency thickened, enveloping them in a cocoon of fear. Amina looked back, meeting the Sheikh's desperate gaze one last time. Just as they reached the door, another loud explosion rocked the building. The frame cracked, and the doorway blurred with debris. Amina gasped, jolted by the blast. What's happening? Everything around her felt unreal. The screams, the smoke, the chaos swirling like a storm. She turned back to see the Sheikh standing still, the expression on his face now masked in terror. "Don't you understand?" Malik shouted over the tumult, his voice rising above the din. "They're coming for him." No one understood. Amina's heart hammered in her chest as the true magnitude of the situation began to sink in. Who was the Sheikh really? Why was Malik so angry? What had he done that made their past echo so loudly in these flames? A loud cracking noise made the walls quiver. Then, to everyone's shock, the back door exploded outward, sending splintered wood and metal clattering. A man dressed in military gear stormed in, guns drawn, his face twisted in rage. "Get down!" he barked, his eyes scanning the room, locking onto Malik. Amina's breath caught in her throat. "What is happening?" The military man pointed. "You," he thundered, finger jabbing. "You have no idea what you've unleashed." In that moment, Amina's world splintered. Everything changed. Malik's face went pale, eyes wide. "I didn't know, I swear." The Sheikh stepped between them, protectively, a look of determination hardening his features. "What do you want?" he demanded, voice steady, but trembling with fear. "No time for that," the soldier growled, moving closer. "You need to remember what you took from us, or it'll cost us all." Amina felt the ground drop from beneath her. The truth shuddered in the air, sharp and suffocating. What had they lost? What was the Sheikh hiding? As the chaos closed around them, her heart raced. And just like that, Amina knew the real danger had nothing to do with the gas leak or the explosions. It was the secrets lurking beneath the surface, ready to explode along with the very foundations of her life. With the sound of sirens approaching, she whispered, "What are you talking about?" But it disappeared into the haze of fear as they prepared for the storm, not just of the café, but of their intertwined pasts. What dark truth waited to be uncovered? Amina felt her heart pounding as chaos erupted around her. The shouting, the crashing noise, and the soldiers' force warning ricocheting off the walls. Her gaze darted between Malik, the Sheikh, and the woman who had rushed in. Desperation hung thick in the air like smoke. "Get out, everyone," the soldier barked again, the urgency in his voice slicing through the panic. "This isn't a drill." But even in the grip of fear, Amina could sense a deeper truth lurking beneath the surface. "What do you mean they're coming for him?" she shouted, turning to Malik. His face was pale, as if he'd seen a ghost, and that only made her more anxious. "I didn't know," he stammered, eyes flitting from Amina to the soldier, checking for some sign of safety. The Sheikh stepped forward, pushing Malik aside. "What you want from me?" His voice was steady, but Amina saw the tightness in his jaw, the fear pooling in his eyes. "Clear out now," the soldier yelled again, his grip on the weapon unwavering. But his gaze softened slightly as he looked at the Sheikh. "You think you can just walk away after all this time?" Amina's chest tightened. What history lurked between them that she didn't know? "Stop! What's going on?" But her words got lost in the noise, drowned out by confusion and fear. Just then, the building shook again. This time, it felt more like a tremor of fear rippling through everyone. A low rumble echoed in response to the soldier's warning, and Amina felt the ground vibrating beneath her shoes. Her heart skipped, pulse racing. What did he mean about the past? And then, as if the universe wanted to shatter every ounce of clarity left, the soldier pulled off his tactical mask, revealing a face she recognized. A face from long ago, a friend from childhood days. "Alex," Amina gasped, her breath hitching. What was he doing here? His eyes strayed to hers, filled with turmoil. "Amina, I didn't want to involve you, but it's too late." Suddenly, all the pieces clicked into place. Alex, the Sheikh, Malik, all of them intertwined in a network of secrets woven tight over the years. The shock rippled through her, turning her inside out. "You know him?" she stammered, pointing back at the Sheikh, whose eyes widened in disbelief. "No, you don't understand," Alex said, a layer of desperation biting his tone. "He's not who you think he is." "What do you mean?" The uncertainty twisted her stomach. Amina looked at the Sheikh. He appeared frozen, a mix of regret and sorrow painting his features. "Everything he's done, it was to protect you," Alex continued, voice trembling. "But now they're coming. They found out, and they want revenge." A collective gasp swept through the café. A chill crept into Amina's spine. "Revenge? What have I stumbled into?" Her mind raced. Fear, betrayal, and confusion swirled like a cyclone. The sounds of sirens grew louder, rippling through the air like an ominous warning. All eyes darted toward the door. But they couldn't move. They were trapped in this storm of accusations, truths, and heart-stopping revelations. Just then, the lights flickered violently, casting shadows across the scene. A sudden explosion rocked the back of the café, a blaze of orange and red spilling through the doorway, flames licking hungrily at the walls. "Get out!" Alex yelled, his voice rising above the chaos. But Amina felt rooted to the spot, overwhelmed by the uncertainty of everything she thought she knew. The Sheikh reached for her hand. "Amina, please, I can explain." But before she could respond, another stronger tremor hit. The ground shook as debris fell from the ceiling, dust swirling like ghosts around them. Panic erupted. Customers screamed, and chaos turned the cafe into a frantic race for escape. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Amina tore her gaze from the Sheikh to Alex. "What's the truth?" As she opened her mouth to ask again, a loud crash thundered from behind. An even more powerful explosion that sent smoke billowing through the air, obscuring everything. The cafe was falling apart around them, and Amina felt like every question she had was buried under the rubble. Who was the real enemy? What had the Sheikh done to her? And more importantly, was any of this connected to her? The flames danced, revealing silhouettes that seemed to pulse with life and secrets, each truth waiting to be uncovered. And as the chaos pressed it around them, the jagged edge of fear cut deep. What had she just walked into? The flames danced behind Alex, casting flickering shadows across the cafe as panic enveloped them all. Amina felt her heart race, every moment stretching like an eternity. The world was breaking apart, but her focus remained locked on the chaos in front of her. Alex looked at her, desperation visible in his eyes, the weight of unspoken truths pressing heavily between them. "Everyone, out, now!" Alex shouted again, urgency rising in his voice like a tide. But Amina couldn't move. The threads of her life were unraveling, revealing hidden connections she never anticipated. "Why didn't you tell me?" Amina cried out, her voice cutting through the mayhem. "All of this, what is happening?" But Alex's expression twisted with concern as he looked behind her. "There's no time. They're not just coming for him, they're coming for you too." "What?" Panic surged through her. "Why would they want me?" And then the cafe shook violently. The walls trembled, and glass shattered in a rain of silver shards. A collective scream rose from the patrons, a chorus of fear mixing with confusion. Amina spun around, and as she did, she caught sight of the Sheikh, who had gone pale, his eyes wide with realization. Suddenly, a shadow fell across the doorway. A figure stepped through the debris, silhouetted against the flickering flames. The cafe fell silent, the air thick with a tension so tangible it felt like a weight on their chests. "Mila," the figure called, voice deep and echoing through the chaos. Amina's breath caught in her throat. That name sent shivers down her spine, familiar yet obscured by a haze of memories. The Sheikh's face mirrored her shock. "No, you shouldn't be here." "Too late," Mila replied, stepping into the dim light. Her face was a mask of determination, but her eyes glimmered with secrets. "You think you can just walk away from this?" Amina's mind raced. Who is she? What does she want? The questions tumbled over each other like a chaotic storm. But before anyone could respond, a loud bang erupted from outside. The walls shuddered again, and debris fell around them. Amina stumbled and stumbled again, finding her footing just in time to see the panicked crowd surge toward the exit. "Get out, now!" Alex yelled, pushing her toward the door. Mila moved closer to the Sheikh, eyes narrowed. "You know they won't stop until they find you. You think this is over?" "Get back," a voice boomed from outside. A police officer stormed in, armed and ready, eyes darting around the room. "Everyone, evacuate. This building is a target." The cafe erupted anew, confusion clashing with panic. Amina felt suffocated, the heat of the flames clawing at her skin. She looked around, desperate for clarity among the turmoil. "Listen," Alex shouted, forcing her attention back to him. "If she's here, then what I feared is true. You have to trust me." Amina's heart raced, but doubt twisted in her mind. "Why? Why should I trust any of you?" Mila took a step back, her eyes fiery. "You don't know everything yet. None of us do. The truth." Another explosion echoed outside, shaking the building to its core. The walls seemed to groan, as if acknowledging the secrets that would soon be laid bare. "Mila," the Sheikh interjected, voice steady but tinged with urgency. "We don't have time for this." But the next moment shattered any sense of control. The door behind Mila burst open, and figures swarmed into the cafe, clad in black, faces hidden beneath hoods and masks. The threat that had been looming now materialized as the intruders flooded the chaotic scene, halting their escape. "No," Alex shouted, grabbing Amina's arm. "They're here for him." Panic erupted again, bodies colliding as everyone scrambled for safety. Amina's mind whirled, confusion darkening her thoughts. The cafe felt like a cage, and the flames roared closer, whispering of the truths waiting to be uncovered. And then, through the chaos, Mila locked eyes with Amina, an unspoken plea hanging
In the air. Amina, you have to remember, you're the key.
What?
Her heart dropped, a sickening twist of dread gutting her. Before she could process it, the masked figures moved with deadly intent, their eyes cold and unyielding. "Malik," one of them shouted, and Amina felt the ground shift beneath her again. Every instinct screamed to run, but she stood frozen. Who was Malik? Why did everything feel mixed up? As another explosion rocked the café, its walls threatening to collapse, Amina realized they were all caught in a deadly game. All she could do was try to unravel the truth before it consumed them. The fiery glow intensified, illuminating unfamiliar faces around her, shadows of a past she'd yet to confront. Would she discover the answers, or would they all be lost to the flames? In that moment, everything hung in balance, and Amina knew she had crossed a line she could never return from. Amina felt her heart pounding as chaos erupted around her. The shouting, the crashing noise, and the soldiers' fierce warning ricocheting off the walls. Her gaze darted between Malik, the Sheikh, and Alex, the woman who had rushed in. Desperation hung thick in the air like smoke. "Get out, everyone," the soldier barked again, urgency rising in his voice like a tide. But Amina couldn't move. The threads of her life were unraveling, revealing hidden connections she never anticipated. "Why didn't you tell me?" Amina cried out, her voice cutting through the mayhem. "All of this, what is happening?" But Alex's expression twisted with concern as he looked behind her. "There's no time. They're not just coming for him. They're coming for you too." "What?" Panic surged through her. "Why would they want me?" And then the cafe shook violently. The walls trembled, and glass shattered in a rain of silver shards. A collective scream rose from the patrons, a chorus of fear mixing with confusion. Amina spun around, and as she did, she caught sight of the Sheikh, who had gone pale, his eyes wide with realization. Suddenly, a shadow fell across the doorway. A figure stepped through the debris, silhouetted against the flickering flames. The cafe fell silent, the air thick with tension. "Malik," the figure called, voice deep and echoing through the chaos. Amina's breath caught in her throat. That name sent shivers down her spine, familiar yet obscured by a haze of memories. The Sheikh's face mirrored her shock. "No, you shouldn't be here." "Too late," the newcomer replied, stepping into the dim light. It was a woman, her features sharp, her eyes blazing with a familiar coldness. Amina's heart dropped. "Hello, Amina," she said with a chill that seeped into Amina's bones. "Surprised to see me?" "Who are you?" Amina managed to gasp, confusion twisting her insides. But a flicker of recognition sparked. It was a ghost from her past. Jasmine, her childhood friend. Jasmine's lips curled into a smirk. "Did you really think you could escape our history? All those years you thought you were just a waitress, but you're so much more." "What are you talking about?" Amina felt her stomach churn. "What do you mean by history? Didn't you ever wonder why they're after you?" Jasmine's sneer deepened, eyes sliding toward the Sheikh. "You never knew, did you? You're the key to unraveling everything, the family secret you were never meant to discover." Before Amina could respond, both Malik and Alex shot forward, but Jasmine raised a hand. "Not so fast. I didn't come here just to destroy your little party. I came to take you back, to complete the mission." "Mission?" Amina whispered, the weight of her confusion crashing down around her. "Exactly," Jasmine continued, stepping closer. "You were always meant to be part of this, Amina. All of us were." Her gaze flickered around the cafe, a predatory gleam in her eyes. "And now it's time to fulfill our legacy." "What legacy?" Malik shouted, eyes narrowed. "This isn't a game, Jasmine." "A legacy of power," Jasmine replied, voice dripping with satisfaction. "You're tied into something bigger than you can imagine. It all connects back to him." She pointed at the Sheikh, her expression fierce. "And now they know where to find you." Amina's heart dropped further, each word tightening the noose of confusion around her. "Who are they? What have you done?" As the tension peaked,
Jasmine's smirk faded, and for a moment, her veneer of confidence cracked. What I've done doesn't matter. What matters is that you're in danger. In danger because of your connection to him. The weight of Jasmine's revelation hung in the air, palpable and heavy. Amina felt everything she knew about herself crumbling, her past, her present, her very identity splintering under the pressure of Jasmine's words. But just as she was about to voice her doubts, a sound ripped through the café, a deafening explosion from outside that sent the walls buckling and the crowd screaming. A deafening crash as the doorway imploded, shrouding the room in dusk and chaos. Amidst the confusion, the soldier roared orders, "Out, now!" But Amina felt paralyzed. Questions swirled in her mind. Was Jasmine telling the truth? Did her past intertwine with the Sheikh's in a way that could rewrite everything? Then, as the haze from the explosion started to settle, Amina caught a flicker of movement out of the corner of her eye. One of the masked intruders had broken away from the chaos, heading directly for her. Get away from her! The Sheikh lunged forward, but Jasmine held him back. "No!" she yelled, desperation fueling her voice. "You don't understand what you're involved in." Amina's pulse raced as the figure approached. The world felt like it was swirling around her, yet all she could focus on was the masked intruder reaching closer, and the unmistakable glint of recognition in their eyes. In that fleeting moment, she saw something familiar, heart-stopping, and utterly unexpected. Right before the figure reached her, they pulled off their mask. A gasp tore through Amina's throat. The face revealed sent shockwaves through her entire being. A face she never expected to see again. A face she thought was long lost. It was her father. How could this be? The cafe spun, confusion and disbelief crashing into her consciousness like waves. Every secret, every question about her past, suddenly clashing violently in a single moment. "What have you done?" she whispered, feeling the shock wash over her. And that question echoed, unanswered, draping a heavy silence over the chaos. Amina's breath hitched as the figure stepped forward, her father's face slicing through the chaos like a blade. "Dad?" The words slipped out, trembling on her lips. Confusion swirled like smoke, memories crashing together in a disorienting blur. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribs. How could he be here? But before he could respond, Jasmine stepped between them, eyes flashing. "You shouldn't have come," she shouted at Amina's father, her voice sharp and filled with urgency. "You'll ruin everything." "Ruin what?" Amina demanded, fear snapping at her heels. "What's happening? Why are you here?" Her father looked older, weary. "Amina, you need to listen to me." But another explosion outside seized their attention. The cafe trembled, dust raining down like confetti of doom. "Everyone, out!" Alex yelled, shoving patrons toward the exits. Panic threading through the crowd. Amina turned back to her father, desperation clawing at her throat. "Tell me what's going on, please." Her chest felt tight, heart hammering faster. He swallowed, eyes darting to the chaos around them. "We don't have time. They know you're here. They're coming for you." "Who?" The ground seemed to sink beneath her, fear coiling around her gut. "Why are they after me?" Before he could answer, another door burst open, revealing more masked figures, a rush of black swirling through the doorway like shadows. "Get her!" one of them shouted, lunging into the cafe. The room ignited with chaos. A scream ripped through the air, high-pitched and frantic. Amina recoiled, her heart racing as she stepped closer to her father, instinctively seeking safety. "Stay back!" the soldier shouted, raising his weapon. "Protect her!" But the intruders didn't hesitate. They surged forward, eyes bright with malice. One grabbing Amina's wrist, the familiar grip sent cold dread racing through her. "Help!" she screamed, terror wrapping around her. "No!" her father shouted, tearing away from Jasmine's hold, moving toward her with fierce determination. "Amina!" The cafe erupted into a cacophony of shouts and scuffles, people pushing, shoving, panic electrifying the air. In the midst of it, Jasmine's voice cut through, colder than the shadows. "You have no idea what you're dealing with."
Amina felt a surge of anger. What are you talking about? The truth hung heavy, suffocating. Then Jasmine stepped back, revealing an object in her hand. A small device, glinting ominously in the dim light. Whoever controls this, controls everything, she said, her tone chilling. And they're coming for it. What? Amina's pulse raced. What does that mean? Suddenly, her father lunged forward, eyes wide with realization. No, don't! But it was too late. Jasmine pressed a button. A sharp beep echoed, followed by a blinding flash. Time seemed to freeze. A bone-rattling boom followed, shaking the very foundation of the café. The world around her erupted in fiery light. Amina's body jerked back as everything around her exploded into chaos, debris scattering like twisted confetti. The air thickened, filling with smoke, screams puncturing her ears. In the storm of confusion, Amina caught a glimpse of her father, his eyes wide, filled with fear and regret as he grew distant. "Amina," he shouted, reaching for her, desperation flaring. But then, silence. The chaos swallowed in an eerie stillness, shadows moving like ghosts in the haze. And when the dust settled, Amina blinked, her surroundings altered. The café, once filled with vibrant chaos, lay in ruins. The air tasted of ash and sharp metal. A jagged light illuminated the space, revealing the devastating aftermath. Amidst the wreckage, Amina felt something shift, down to her core, her entire life. Twisted on its axis. Who was she really? The question clung heavy in the air, but just then Jasmine's silhouette reappeared, smoke curling around her. "Welcome to your past, Amina," she said, voice cold and sharp. "You're not just a waitress, you're the key, and now the whole world knows it." As Amina stood there, shock racing through her veins, realization crashed over her like a wave. Everything she thought she knew was a lie. What had Jasmine just unleashed? And as Amina looked around, staring into the darkness of her fragmented world, one question echoed louder than the rest. Was she ready to confront what was coming? Amina stood there, her breath hitching, as chaos swirled around her. Dust settled like a dark veil, hiding the devastation. She felt the weight of Jasmine's words heavy in the air. "You're the key to our past." Her eyes darted between her father and Jasmine, desperate for answers, but the confusion was a thick fog that choked her. "What do you mean?" she shouted, but both remained silent, caught in their own storm of tension. And then, in the blink of an eye, the café erupted again. This time it wasn't just the chaos of intruders or explosions. It was a scream, a wild, piercing cry that split through the air like glass shattering. A figure, cloaked in black, flew through the debris towards them. "Get away from her!" a woman shouted, and Amina's heart dropped. It was her mother. "Mom," the word escaped her lips as if pulled by invisible strings. The sight of her mother was both a comfort and a storm of confusion. "What are you doing here?" Her mother skidded to a halt, eyes wild, breathless. "Amina, you have to trust me. We need to get out. Now." But Jasmine's laughter echoed, chilling and cutting through Amina's hope. "You think you can just waltz in and save the day? You're too late. We're all in this now." Amina's head spun. Her mother, the woman she thought had left her behind, was back. "What is happening?" she cried. "You vanished. You didn't even tell me the truth." "Amina, there's so much you don't know," her mother pleaded, taking a step closer, but wary of Jasmine. "We're being hunted because of the past, because of what she pointed at the Sheikh did." The Sheikh's face paled further. "I didn't know. I never meant for this to happen." The fear in his eyes twisted something deep inside Amina. Could she believe him? But before she could think, Jasmine lunged at her mother, hand outstretched, fingers curled into a claw. "You think you can just upend everything? You were never supposed to be involved." The air crackled with tension. Amina watched, horrified, as her mother sidestepped. But Jasmine was too quick. In an instant, a flash of metal glinted in Jasmine's hand. And then, everything changed. A gunshot rang out, the sound a deafening thunder. A sharp pain pierced the air, and Amina's heart stopped as everything froze. Her mother gasped, eyes widening in shock. "Mom!" Amina screamed, lunging forward, but her mother fell to the ground crumpling like paper. "No, no, no!" Amina's voice cracked. She dropped to her knees, shaking her mother, searching for life in her eyes. "Mom, please!" But the moment dragged on, her mother's face becoming pale, lifeless. The rush of shock swallowed Amina whole, suffocating her breath. The cafe felt like it was closing in, the shadows creeping closer, wrapping around her heart like a vice. She turned, fury igniting her. You did this!" She pointed an accusing finger at Jasmine, disbelief roaring in her chest. "Stop!" the soldier bellowed, rushing toward them, confusion etched on his face as he processed the chaos. "Everyone back!" But it was too late. The cafe was engulfed in chaos again. Screams, footsteps, the burning. Smell of smoke. Amina's world shattered, not just from the loss, but the realization of betrayal surrounding her. Amidst the turmoil, Jasmine's eyes gleamed with something cold. "You never understood your place," she sneered. "You're just like your mother, a pawn in this game." "What game?" Amina hissed, gripping her mother's lifeless hand, tears burning in her eyes. And then, just as they stood on the edge of despair, a voice broke through, a familiar one that sent shockwaves through Amina. "No, this ends now." A figure appeared from the shadows, her focus sharpening on the doorway. It was Malik, but he wasn't alone. Another figure stepped forward, someone Amina never expected to see. Lara, her best friend, someone she thought had gone missing years ago. "Lara?" Amina whispered, disbelief threading through her voice. But before she could process it, Lara pulled out a device similar to Jasmine's. "You have to listen. You're not safe here." And just like that, the realization hit Amina like a freight train. What did you do, Lara? As the lives of everyone spun out of control, Amina understood her choices had just grown darker. Her past, her lineage, everything she believed in was crumbling, twisting into something wild and unrecognizable. Would this revelation tear them apart? And through the haze of emotions, the grief, the rage, one question stung deep. What was the truth buried in the ashes of her past that connected them all? And could she untangle it before it swallowed them whole? Amina knelt on the ground, cradling her mother's lifeless.
Adi, as the world spun around her, Jasmine stood nearby, her smirk fading to an expression of twisted satisfaction. The cafe, now a shell of chaos, was filled with shouts and cries, echoes of a nightmare refusing to let go. "Finish it," one of the intruders yelled, lunging toward Amina. But before anyone could react, Malik stepped forward. "Get away from her." He shoved the intruder aside, the intensity in his eyes igniting a fire Amina hadn't seen before. "Someone call for help." Alex pushed through the scattering crowd, his voice cutting through the tension. "We can't let them." But that was when her father's voice boomed above the chaos. "Enough!" They all froze at the authority in his tone. "This is bigger than any of you understand. We need to leave, now." He looked at Amina, a flicker of desperation crossing his features. "Amina, we can explain everything later, but there's no time." The dust settled momentarily, revealing the truth laced in raw emotion. Her mother was gone, but so were their lives if they stayed here. The weight of Jasmine's words hung in the air, as dark as the smoke rising around them. Amina's heart raced, her breath shallow. Grief and adrenaline collided within her. "Go." "We can mourn later," Malik urged, grabbing Amina's arm, gently pulling her up. "We can't let her plan succeed." As they stumbled towards the doorway, Amina glanced back at Jasmine. "What did you mean? Why am I involved?" "Because you are the one who will reclaim what was lost." Jasmine shouted, rage boiling in her voice. "You may think those bonds were severed, but they can never truly break. You're tied into a legacy, our destiny." The room trembled, and Amina felt the pull of destiny tugging at her like strands of a web. "Not your legacy," she shot back, pushing through the crowd. "Not anymore." But a new commotion erupted. The police had finally arrived, blue lights flashing through the entrance, pouring in, like hope. Officers shouted orders, securing the area. The masked figures hesitated, confusion plastered across their faces. "Stand back! Everyone out!" An officer raised a megaphone, echoing command, urgency flooding the air. "There's only one way to end this, Amina," Jasmine screamed, right on their heels. "You must choose. Join us, or I choose my family," Amina shouted, drawing strength from her pain. "You don't get to decide my fate." As the first officer approached, Amina felt a surge of bravery propel her forward. She could feel the warmth of Malik and Alex on either side, her father anchoring her from behind. They surged out of a café, rushing through the painful remnants of a shattered past. Together, they confronted Jasmine at the entrance. "This ends here," Malik stated, fierce determination in his eyes. Seconds passed like hours. The sound of sirens turning into a crescendo vibrated through them. Jasmine's face twisted with anger, and just as she opened her mouth to retaliate, a blinding flash of lights washed over them. All eyes turned towards the police, standing ready. In the midst of the chaos, Amina felt a newfound clarity. "You're right about one thing, Jasmine. You tried to control my past, but you've only strengthened my resolve." That final statement drew her father's supportive nod. The shock waves of their tangled past began to fade, and Amina took a deep breath, the taste of smoke lingering. Together they stepped out into the light, united against the shadows chasing them. A wave of sirens greeted her, and reality settled in. There would be losses and scars, but her family was still alive. They could face the truth together, build a future from the ruins. As they took their first steps away from the chaos, Amina felt the weight of her choices lifting, the burden becoming part of her story, no longer a pawn, but a player in her own life. This moment of freedom wasn't just escaping the café. It was a chance to rebuild, to confront the past armed with truth, and to reclaim the legacy on her own terms. And as the police pushed the masked figures back, her heart swelled with an unfamiliar warmth, a flicker of hope in the midst of darkness. You have to subscribe right now. Don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. This is the moment to show your support.